plays video games all day, and his wife is fed up.
Hey, what's up? Today we're going to be simulating the lower ranks of Overwatch using artificial intelligence. First, I'm going to let the AI's robotic representative, Catbot, tell you a little bit about what goes on in the background.
What's up, everyone? I'm Catbot from the Overwatch team. I'm a part of the neural network that ensures that the throwers and one-tricks are placed on your team, so that the rest of the Overwatch player base can continue to enjoy themselves and purchase loot boxes. Now, let's talk about this simulation. The simulation is a Python script that takes historical data, player personality, tilt, and rank into its equation in order to make logical guesses as to who they'll pick next.
Thanks, Catbot. Now let's get into the simulation. I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting, so I'm going to pump up a couple of variables. First up will be the personality type generation. The personality scale goes from a 1 being the most toxic player you run into in Overwatch to 5 being the very least toxic person you've ever met. They're perfectly willing to swap all the time. We're going to crank up the weights for the meanest by quite a bit. The second meanest also quite a bit. So they are significantly higher than all the others. We're pretty much only going to be getting extremely hostile players here. The other one I'm going to be changing is the players' amount of frustration they have when they first start playing the game. We're going to up it from between 1 and 8 to the multiplier to between 10 and 30 as the multiplier. So the level of frustration they're starting at now is going to be at about the point you're going to be at when your wife's boyfriend kicks you off the Switch and says you have to go play Overwatch for him. All right, next up are going to be their chances to say a mean comment based on their teammates' performances. So I'm going to lower the weight for them not to say a mean comment from 700 to 200. I got to do it for the other one. Give me 1 second. And there's the other one. All right, so now it's time to begin the generation of players. I'm going to start the script. And then, so the first things it does ask us, it asks what rank range we want to start at. So we're going to be doing low gold. So we're going to do 2,000, and the range end will be 2,200. So all the players will be between those two ranks. And then we're only going to play one match because these can go on for a few minutes. So I'm going to start the generation. If this is a good one, I'll just continue with it. If it's not, we'll keep generating until we get some interesting people. All right, I think we got some good personalities here. So I'm going to tell you a bit about these guys. So first off, we've got Tickle Train. His main is Sigma, and he's got a personality type of 2. So he's pretty mean, not the meanest, but pretty mean, pretty hostile. Like I said, not the worst, but pretty close to it. It seems the majority, actually every single person I generated here is a 2 or a 1. So everyone in this game is extremely hostile. There are no normal people here. This is a horrible loser's queue. This is really rough, just to set some pretense. So next up we have Alex. He's a Ryan main. Got Gnome. He's a Moira main. They're on red team. This is all red team right now. Baseball Lover 64 is a Brig main. Bedwetter 11 is an Ashe main. Mercy main is a Winston main. Oh, we got a GeForce driver. Harambe Fanatic 44 is Winston main. I promise I did not hardcode that. That is just circumstance. Feaster is a Lucio main. He's a 1, so he's just the meanest. Just a really asshole Lucio player. So is Harambe Fanatic. Just a really mean Winston main. These are all low gold, as I said. We've got High Ground Moira main, Throwing is a Junkrat main, and Jeff Lover is a Bastion main. So we are going to continue with this comp. And it goes a little bit fast, so I cannot read it as fast as it goes. So Tickle Train said that they should go Brawl, so they're going Ryan Zarya, McCree. Baseball Lover 64 said, nah, that comp is dumb as fuck. I'm going to go Widowmaker, so they went Widow. And then Cool Kid said, not a fan, he's going to play Anna. And some pretense, these comps are hard locked. So when they say, nah, I'm going to go with not this type of comp, and they go something that actually is that type of comp, it's just picking random stuff to an extent. Their main and other stuff comes into play, but it can still end up on a character in the comp. Just so you know, this isn't hyper intelligent. It's only extremely intelligent. So on the other side, on blue team, they went Dive, and Jeff Lover, not a fan, so he went Brig. They got Brig Zenyatta for Dive. All right, so the match began. Tickle Train was killed by Jeff Lover on the brig by his whip. Alex was killed by Zen, and then he said, "Why the fuck can't the supports heal me?" High Ground was killed by McCree. Oh, that's Gnome. His fan the hammer, and he said that his tanks are brain dead. All right. Then Red Team's McCree was killed, and he said tanks press W. And then Jeff Lover was killed. He asked the supports to swap. And then the fight is over. Red Team ends up losing that fight. So then Tickle Train says they should go Brawl. They go Ryan Czar. Pretty classic Brawl comp. None of them goes against the flow, which I'm surprised about. Yes, Blue Team did win that fight. All right, so the first death is Alex. He dies to Brig, I think, again. And he says, ZZZ supports, what the fuck are you doing? I'm going to try to go a bit faster because there are 6 fights in here. I want to get through it somewhat quick. Harambe Fanatic was killed. He said support Tiff. So just so you guys know, there are, they can say things that aren't toxic, but since I made them so mean, it's going to be very rare that if they decide to say a comment, it's not going to be toxic. And then so Feaster as Farah, a DPS, was killed by Brig, and then he said, DPS, turn on your monitors. That's not supposed to happen. All right, so Red Team ended up winning that fight. So then they went dive comp, and no one went again, so they got the Winston Hammond classic. Up next, the Farah was killed by Reinhardt's hammer. Hammond got killed by Soldier. When Alex was killed by Hammond, Mercy Main's pile driver, he said his supports are dog shit. What ended up happening? Red Team lost that fight. I haven't kept track of what's going on, but at this point, they ended up going Brawl comp. Blue did. And Bedwetter11 said, fuck that dumbass comp, he's playing Anna. So they got Anna Moira, that's fine, I think. Alright, so next up, Tickle Train was killed by Hammond's pile driver, and he said, ZZZ supports, what the fuck are you doing? This is actually one of my first few times seeing this go through the whole way, so I think it's hilarious. Baseball Lover 64, he's playing Soldier, was killed by Hammond. All he did was collide with him. He didn't even pile drive. And he said our DPS are dog shit. he's their DPS. Alright, so then Tickle Train said they should swap to Brawl. He seems to be a natural team leader. And then Alex said he does not want to play that comp. He's going to play Hog. Alright, Blue Team won that previous fight. The Hog was the first one killed. He was killed by Zen. And he said their supports are brain dead. And then on the blue side, their Tracer was killed by Moira's Coalescence. She ulted. And she said, GG, tanks are dog shit. Okay, next up, Reaper was killed by Winston, Harambe Fanatic 44, and then he said, DPS, are you there? Even though he is their DPS. I guess it does make sense. Next up, High Ground Farah was killed by McCree. That's, probably should swap. He's getting countered. He said, tanks, press W. Okay. And then Blue Team ended up winning that fight. Blue Team won the fight. They actually ended up then swapping to Brawl comp. No one went against it. Good. They're all working together. That's a positive. See, there's a non-negative. That is, I think, one of our first non-negative comments. During the next fight, Jeff Lover, damn it, he's on Lucio, and he said, yo, supports you there, after he died. So that's a non-toxic one. First one we've got. And then immediately after, Tickle Train was killed by Farah's rocket launcher, and then he said that their DPS are brain dead. Reaper was killed. Tanks pressed W. Pretty classic angry teammates here for sure. Red Team ended up losing that fight. They've been losing nearly every fight. Nope, they've They won one fight at the beginning. This has been a rough fight. Let me get back to where we were. I don't actually remember where we were. The next fight, Zenyatta immediately died to Zarya. I don't know why he was pushed up that far. And he said, GG, tanks are dog shit. His name is Throwing, so I mean, that makes sense. Tickle Train was killed by their Tracer, the enemy team's Tracer. And he said, DPS, turn on your monitors. Bedwetter was killed yet again, and he blames the supports again, even though he is a support. Not a ton of game sense here. These guys are in gold. Tickle Train then said they should swap Brawl. They did, but it was too late. Blue team won the fight. They couldn't... No. There's still another round. My bad. I thought that was the last one. Sorry.
Hey guys, still Catbot from the Overwatch team. I'd like to run a quick survey of all of you Overwatch players to gauge options on potential future game changes. Please put your answers in the comment section down below so that we can rally them together and see what we should implement in the game. Question number 1. Would the tank role be more enjoyable if Wrecking Ball's ultimate were more in line with Winston's and caused him to grow 10 times in size while giving him an equivalent amount in shields?
Area denied.
Question number 2. What would your thoughts be on a cinematic short showcasing the numerous legal battles Lucio has ended up in due to DMCA violations?
All right, for the final fight, so it looks like Reaper immediately got killed by Hammond, and then both on red team. And then there's Zarya. Alex, he was killed by Lucio's boop, and then he said, DPS, turn on your monitors. Bedwetter 11 was killed by Farah's rocket launcher. And then Cool Kid 141, he's on Brig. Please remember that, he's on Brig. He was killed by Farah's rocket launcher again. She's really popping off. And then he said support diff. And then Tickle Train, their Reinhardt, was killed by Harambe Fanatic 44. And he said, pretty sure our DPS are throwing. And then they tried to swap Brawl. And Bedwetter 11 said, fuck that comp, I'm playing BAP anyhow. But blue team ended up winning the game. The only person that said anything at the end was Mercy. The only people were Mercy Man and Jeff Lover. They won the game, so I'm not sure why they're so upset. But Mercy Main said, I'm pretty sure the rest of my team didn't have their monitors on. And Jeff Lover said, fuck this game, even though he won. And then blue team, they were the winners, as I said. I thought that was a pretty fun simulation. There are a lot more stats I didn't go further into, and a lot more that actually happens in the background than you'd think from me upping the toxicity level. If you have any questions or you just want to see it, if you know anything about development or Python, I'm going to be linking the GitHub down below in the description if you want to check it out or clone it. I don't really care. Also, if there is any interest, I wouldn't mind putting it up on a website and putting some visuals and stuff and some input boxes so you can mess around with stuff and make your own simulations. That way you can simulate these sort of teammates instead of running into the real ones in-game. All right, and finally, for my next videos, I'm going to be returning to a more, educational format. So I'm going to try to do a VOD review. I've really been wanting to do one recently. So I'm going to try to find one, and then I also am going to be doing another series in tandem with it. It'll be a what if series for Overwatch. This is going to go for a while, a couple weeks in tandem with the other videos. The first one is going to be what if Overwatch never got a single balance change for any hero. It'll be with all the current heroes and role queue, or maybe without, I'm not sure yet. But it'll be if never got any balance changes, all heroes were left as they were, and I think I might be using the simulation a bit to see how that will go. Other than that, thank you for watching. Sorry it took so long for this video to come out. It's been a long time in the making. Have a good day.